Hi everybody, Minus again from wowplus.org. This is video number 2 for learning WeakAuras. So we have to call this series Let's Learn WeakAuras. So in our first video, we went through the WeakAura interface, how to access it, talking a little bit about why. So we're going to skip all that. I'm going to get right into the icon we created here, which is Garot. So Garot is the icon we made in video 1. If you want to catch up, make sure you check out that video. So the first things first is we want to try to kind of put this somewhere and decide what size we want this icon. So I want to show you around the display channel here and how to edit and do some different things with it. So first of all, we have in the middle here where this lock is, we have our cooldown time. You can adjust the text of that. And if you look here at the text that's in there, right now we have it as stacks. The number of stacks of an aura usually is what's showing as text number 1. There is no text number 1 is honestly just going to automatically go to that cooldown that we've made and set itself up. This is in the bottom right. So there's some different stuff we're going to have to do here to get that cooldown in the middle a little bit better. So what we're going to do is, if you look at the icon, first of all, you can see the height and width of it is 64 by 64. That is a rather large icon, especially because we're going to have to make more icons. We're going to want a energy bar, possibly a small health bar. We're going to want a cooldown icon similar to Garot for Toxic Blade. We are going to want our combo points displayed, which is also really important. We're going to do that in a separate video altogether, making combo points. And then we want to be able to know what cooldowns we have that are up. So we want to know, Sprint, Cloak of Shadows, Crimson Vial, Faint. All those different things are really important. Then our damage cooldowns, Vendetta, Shadow Step, Evasion. So it's really important that we're going to have to leave room. So a 64 by 64 icon is not fantastic. So let's actually make this smaller. Let's try a 40 by 40 and see what we think of that. You have to hit 40 and then enter, 40 and then enter. That's going to be a much more manageable icon. Okay, so the other thing here we can do is text 1. This is showing the bottom right. That's stacks. We actually don't have stacks. We are going to increase the font, see here, of the cooldown stacks. So that's going to be stack 2. Oh, I'm sorry, no, scratch that. Look, you can actually see when we hit stack 2 there that it actually is going to bring that up. So it's going to show us the size of that. Stack 2 is progress, remaining time, timer, basically looking at cooldown. So if we have that set, we can actually increase or decrease that size. So to show that a little bit, see how big the cooldown timer is on it. Now we have the other one underneath it, so we're going to fix that. Let's go back up in, get our WeakAuras set back up here. So what we can do is, instead of doing it like that, let's go in and actually get rid of text 2. Change this from stacks to progress, the same that we had there before. Enter. See how it's in the bottom right now? We can actually turn off cooldown text, since that's going to show for us. And we can actually make that a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit more readable. Let's go ahead and test it again. So see, that'll show you the remaining cooldown time there. Should kill this thing. Killing a lot of deer in this video making. Okay, so let's open up our WeakAuras. So what did we just do? In Garot, first of all, we changed the size from 40 to 40. We changed the generic text that it had to a progress, which is going to show cooldown, so we can turn off that cooldown text so we can actually edit it. If you want, you can actually change where that's located. We can put it right in the center, which is actually a little bit nicer, so we'll keep it in center. And height and width to 40. Okay, so I want to show you something a little more advanced. I like to see the color of something really pop when it's available. So what we can do is actually have a condition on it, so that when the ability is available, it will show in color, and when it's not, it'll turn to black and white. So that's in this tab called Conditions. We're going to click Add Condition, and we're going to say if on cooldown, so if the spell is on cooldown, and that is true, so it is truly on cooldown, then you can do these different things. This is moving it, changing the size, playing sounds, a lot of different stuff here. But the one I like is desaturate. And it's really important that you click this icon right here. So the condition is that if it is on cooldown, and that is true, then we're going to desaturate it, and that's going to activate it. So watch what happens to this icon now whenever we use Garrote here, which I'm going to lead with. It goes black and white. Now with an ability like Garrote, you can't tell too much, but you'll notice the red kick back in here, right there. So it's a neat way to make it so the ability pops when it's off cooldown, unless you want to make it have a sound or something like that, which is absolutely fine as well. And no, I am not playing a rotation, I'm clicking buttons. It is horrible how long it takes me to kill these poor deer. So let's go back up and do a couple more things. If you want to add a sound, you can do that by going to Actions. You can add sounds when it's hiding or showing, but because we're keeping it available all the time, it's going to be a condition that we'd want to do. So if we want to add a property change, is when it's off cooldown, that it plays a sound for us, we can do that as well. We would do add a condition, on cooldown false, sound. And we can pick a different sound here, play. And we're just going to pick one real quick here. We're going to do sonar. And of course, I'm filming a video in the middle of nowhere. We have a Japanese player come up and try to open trade with me. So, hello and bye. So what's going to happen now is when it's on cooldown, it's going to desaturate. Whenever it is off cooldown, it's going to make this sonar noise in the master volume. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it out and see how that works. Remember, fast forward or back up in this video anytime you want to see how something happens. I know sometimes I can talk fast, so watch. So watch as it's going. I'm going to be quiet here so you can hear. When it gets to 1, do you hear that sonar beep? So that's a way to give yourself an audio cue that one of your abilities is back up. So pretty neat. So I don't want to make this video too long. It's more about customizing a ability. But as you can see, we've made Garrote smaller. We've added 2 conditions to it. We've added a condition to desaturate when it's on cooldown, and when it's off cooldown to give us a little bit of a sound so we know that that's occurring. So you can see that here. We've also gone into display. We've changed what type of text is showing to a progress text, which is our cooldown. Thus, we didn't need this cooldown text here because that allowed us to make that bigger or smaller. You can see it changing there. And you can change the color and everything in here as well. We also changed the size from a 64 by 64 to a 40/40. Pretty easy. I'm doing these things and showing them now because as we continue to build this in future videos, we're going to move a lot quicker. So pretty simple, very quick video here, just showing you how to do some customizing to the icon. And then in the next videos, we'll start ramping it up a bit more.